Exciting gameplay to see who can place where when it comes to the Liftoff. And we got perfect form, we got Deadeye, only one player taking Deadeye. Doxy here trying to do a little bit more damage when it comes to getting some kills here, though they do have Asher on their side as well, so they might be able to. We do see that Atlas picked as well against the X again in this set. We already saw it last set. It was kind of a godsend to see something like Celestial Intervention against X trying to do damage. So we'll see if that comes up again even in this series here.
I think it really might, and Wallaby with the strike reset, finding the last barrier here, but yeah, that little bit of less damage is so valuable when, especially with this Fini, the damage starts stacking up. General Twee and Wallaby with the passing plays, though, they're maintaining possession so well. Spartan and Doxy, they don't know what to do.
Yeah, that was a really good hold there from Twee, holding on to that strike there and then giving it to Wallaby Gangsta right when the time was right there. So the well-deserved point for the side of Atlas's diverse resume. Maybe I say that, maybe I say the long version every single time, but gonna start off on this next point here. A lot of damage coming on to Zert already, but he does grab a barrier here as they're gonna defend the second one away. Spartan gonna move up with a projection, possibly get an expanse opening here. Wallaby maybe had a sniff there of the double, but not gonna work out just yet though. We have 3 flips for the side of ADR right now, so they're looking pretty scary, even though they still have 2 barriers to go through right now. That might result in 0, as they're going to focus a little bit of damage onto Zert here and get them out of the play for just a second. Spartan steals the flip, but it's going to get struck there from Wallaby Gangsta, who's looking to do a little bit more damage, get a little bit closer, as Spartan and Zert end up clearing that one away. We looking a little bit weak on their side, though. Let's see if they can keep this ball alive. Flips a little bit too late, loses the barrier in return. Not a good enough angle to grab one of themselves, and now we have a power play here for ADR as they end up finding they end up finding Zert on the bottom side there.
A very big KO here. If they can convert this into a barrier, that would be huge, but a good strike by Doxy up to the top side. And now Wallaby's the one who's in danger. Mr. Zert with a dash punch off, and the power play is swung completely around.
Absolutely. Cat showing up here with their own power play. Doxy flying on in there, getting that slime to defeat Dran in that drum and bass duel. And it's going to be Doxy successfully taking that one here. Cat on the board. You know, Deadeye making the core a little bit faster. Juno does still get like that red ball core speed benefit with just like the strike with friends passive in overtime. So Deadeye is really just going to help benefit that as well.
Yeah, that's going to be very huge here. Mr. Zert being taken down low, but once again, the Celestial Intervention comes out really hard. And Doxy with a really nice strike placement to the bottom side finds a barrier here. And Mr. Zert with the follow-up strikes, a triple take backfiring for General Twee. And it's looking pretty good for Coconut Catastrophe after they've settled in.
Yep, looking solid on this one here. 2 barriers down. Wallaby Gangsta's going to try to make a play here with General Twee, but they do get defended nicely here. Spartan with some good cooldowns is going to keep that ball away. Now in the hands of Twee, who has this flip. Gangsta looking a bit weak right now, but Spartan not under too much pressure here with a couple of cooldowns. A flip Doxy on the bottom side, but the expanse is not going to be enough, as Wallaby Gangsta's on the front there and gets the bull rush and ends up slaying Spartan. And again, Doxy also going down here. General Twee no problem knocking them out, and even Zert was a little bit weak there. They might have been looking for an ace, but they don't need it, as they're going to strike right past with that nice 3v1 power play, and it's going to be ADR looking good right now with all of this perfect form.
That is really just an example of this team, right? It looked really down for them. They were really on the back foot, but they found the damage out, but they found the KOs, and then they converted pretty cleanly. That's why ADR is the seed 1 here, not counting the teams with a bye to the second round. And they could go far here, and once again, on the wrong side of the expanse. Well played. Wallaby catching Spartan's missed strike as well on the follow-up. Good conversion by ADR as they win the set.
Absolutely. Twee successfully winning all of that. Just that whole situation there with the big finish against Spartan is going to net them that barrier, and Wallaby's going to move up and grab it perfectly. And that's really great synergy coming out from ADR. Now, X, the Nightmare, being the first pick on the opposing team, gets to pick whatever they want on this board. They can get training for more damage or size X. Yeah, they're going to go with size X here, and that's some of the most deadly stuff you can come across here, as it sometimes just becomes impossible to strike it past X Maximus with the bell ringer there. They're going to have to deal with that. But hey, extra special Atlas, maybe that'll be just enough to nullify some of this damage. Like I said, we saw last time, it really was just like a reverb that was keeping up the Celestial Intervention. But now we have the perfect form ticks to get the other cooldowns back, and we have extra special. So this could be exactly what Cat's looking for to keep themselves alive, but they are going to lose 2 barriers here.
Yeah, they definitely are. A dangerous spot. Wallaby dashing in once again. And taking a look at the Awakenings, right? Wallaby, with that additional size, is going to have such an easier time core controlling here, looking massive compared to the rest of the lobby. And that is so important in this game where they already have enough damage.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, the size on X just does so much, especially when it comes to dealing with Atlas, right? Like, we'll have Wallaby Gangsta approach here and get hit by Expanse, but he'll be big enough to keep the ball since Expanse doesn't really hit the ball all that hard, and it kind of feels like he can keep possession through half of Atlas's abilities here. But now we have open goal for both sides. Expanse comes out, doesn't get too much. Wallaby kind of has an open goal there. Yeah, in position with General Tweet, and they have it, bro. They feel like they're locked in. The key is set. The lock is open, and they are feeling pretty good right now. I don't even feel like they're sweating.
Yeah, they are not. It looks like lots of meter on the board as well, right? They have basically 3 flips coming up pretty soon. Wallaby's going to get hit or be the one hitting and build that up real quick. And wow, General Twee, what a solo play with the big finish there, and has a flip as well as a tree down to Wallaby. The possession just being constantly maintained by this Atlas's Diversified Resume squad. It's overwhelming.
This really is a diversified resume, as we have Wallaby Gangsta blasting that X Maximus, and a simple punch right through everyone's face is going to get that ball on in there. I mean, check the levels right now. We got 5-5 on the forwards. Dran can't even get the ball. The General Twee and Wallaby Gangsta are doing such good ball control that Dran has barely any situation where they have to defend it. And they're just one level above the opponents right now. Is going to get another kill, level 6 here. Spends the bull rush and the flip to grab a power play of their own. Doxy also taking a ton of damage there. Probably the next kill that they're looking for. But drum and bass is going to probably result in a barrier or two here. But the Expanse, nicely timed here from Spartan, is going to keep both of those barriers alive for now. And actually kind of winning this point as they haven't lost a barrier yet. And Wallaby Gangsta is looking a little bit weak. If they can maybe find a way to get him out of here, this could look good for Cat.
Yeah, it might be. Wallaby, though, not getting taken out just yet. Dealing some little bit more damage here. And as General Twee drops back to help defend, Dran is sitting comfortably with the flip available. General Twee is winning strike wars in the midfield. And that leaves Wallaby so comfortable, able to pick up the orbs, able to regen. And Dran hasn't even had to use the flip yet.
Yeah, General Twee doing such a good job of keeping the pressure up that Wallaby can just get into like the perfect position when they need it. In addition to them both holding the course so well that Dran basically always has flip. And look at that, man. That kind of synergy there with the misdirect was just so good. Right on the middle there, right through Doxy and Spartan. They're looking so powerful right now. And General Twee was really fast there, especially with that stacks, and now gets their chance to get whatever they want on this board. It could be like a Monumentalist take double barrier every ult situation.
Yeah, and that Monumentalist, like you mentioned, is going to be such a problem to deal with for this team. Spartan and Doxy are going to burn so many cooldowns to deal with it. And look at Wallaby getting ever larger. It is looking so dangerous on the defense.
Yeah, that bell ringer is going to hit everyone across the board there, and especially with the recovery drone, if anything happens, he'll get one little revive here per set, so that's just a nice little piece of defense there as well. Striking past this X is going to be nearly impossible. They're going to have to try their best to strike it around there. Spartan kind of whiffs the strike shot. They're going to lose one barrier there, but not too much trouble. Zert putting themselves as far in there as they can possibly go with that barrier beam, but only grabs one barrier in return, as all 3 players of ADR are going to return to defense for just that moment there to help Dran keep that one barrier alive. Wallaby trying to strike it past Doxy, but we do get an astral projection to keep that one alive. Now it's going to be down to Dran and Zert here, though. Dran nicely keeping that one alive also with the drum and bass. Doxy looking a bit weak, but here comes the intervention. The drum and bass also coming out to help defend, and Zert just can't get their hands on the ball when they need it, though. The barrier beams just are not working out perfectly. They need some better positioning here, possibly a little bit of aid from Doxy in some situations, but ADR is just looking really good until they lose 2 barriers, and this is their chance. Catastrophe could finally cause a catastrophe of their own.
Yeah, big opportunity for Mr. Zert, but deflected away by General Twee in the corner now. And a barrier beam from Mr. Zert made it really difficult, but goes down in the end. Spartan now pushing forward. The recovery drone doing work for Wallaby. And a dangerous spot for Dran, but barely saved by the drum and bass. Doxy continuing to put on the pressure, though. And maybe Doxy can do enough here, but Spartan's evade strike is attempted, but Wallaby out-times it with the strike on the return. And now as overtime hits, it's all up to Doxy, maybe, to find an opportunity here. But once again, the big finish makes it so difficult.
Yep, we got a nice expanse there from Spartan to keep themselves alive as well. Wallaby spends the bull rush there. Doesn't get too much of it here, but it's going to be, whoa, the triple take from General Twee is actually going to clip the ball in the the smallest little clippy clip I've ever seen ever. It didn't even seem like it hit it, but heck, it did. So ADR is going to grab that point as well. Zerk going to try to win that kickoff there with a little bit of evade action coming in, but it's going to just be a drum and bass to kind of jail Zert for a little bit there, keep the barrier alive. Now Wallaby Gangsta's turn his sights onto Zert as we're going to have General Twee spend the flip. Going to grab at least one of these barriers here. It's all you could hope for when you flip from that range as well. And man, Wallaby Gangsta still just actively looking for the ball and attacking Zert at the same time. Really great multitasking, and it's going to result in another kill. Man, Zert out of the game again here. Doxy and Spartan left to defend, spends the flip. Bull Rush coming in hot, almost had it, but I mean, the assistance of the big finish plus Twee on the backside is just going to be too much for that point. And now Catastrophe is experiencing a catastrophe as they are at the final point right now.
Yeah, it's looking like a march towards the end here as Wallaby, with the reach, with the size, picks up the barrier. Second barrier taken by General Twee, and this game's reaching its expiration date pretty soon.
It is indeed. Spartan might have had to flip a little bit earlier there to keep one of these barriers alive. The big finish coming out, spends it now. Wallaby Gangsta had a read on it, but Spartan misses the wall in a kind of a desperate attempt to get the ball out of there, and Doxy couldn't reach, and there you go. Wallaby Gangsta slice it on in there. ADR takes it. That size X was actually just unstoppable, really, there with General Twee on the side. And that's going to be, yeah, ADR taking that one kind of handily, I'll say it.
Yeah, and that's the expectations placed on this team, right? This team was seeded first out of the open entrance to this open entry qualifier, Launchpad number 1. And with great performances in tournaments like Pick Your Poison, I think a lot of expectations, and I think they're really living up to them right now. But they faced the Flying Blobos next to actually qualify for Liftoff, and that's definitely going to be a bit of a challenge.
It should definitely pose as a challenge. The Flying Bobbles was kind of seated on in here, really just skipped it on through down to winners semis as well deserved. Taking a look at some of these stats real quick. I mean, Wallaby Gangsta doing not even the most damage, actually. General Twee ended up dealing the most damage, but they are both on top. They played to their outs perfectly here with the Finny and the X. Dran, I mean, was doing a great job of defending, but really just didn't get a whole lot of time to defend as General Twee and Wallaby were really just holding it down. And yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, the first seed, they kind of secured what they needed to, and they're going to move on to fight possibly an even stronger team in just a few minutes, as we're going to have to go to a little break here, get a little bit set up, and we'll see you guys back in just a few minutes.
Yep, don't go anywhere.